All right, it's another day of doing the Homeric Rhapsody thing. Again, what I'm doing here is not necessarily trying to get to a point where I can recite the Iliad word for word, nor am I necessarily attempting to create a new thing of my own, but rather I'm attempting to uphold the ancient tradition of oral storytelling, which is kind of like entirely alien to modern concepts of how a story gets told, but the idea being that you would recite the entire thing from memory, and it changes every time. So what I'm trying to do is to get to a point where I can, at least to some extent, confidently just like roll off things written in sort of a Homeric-ish style in order to better serve the game project that I'm working on. And we're not so many days into it, so I'm not really very good at it, but I don't know if I'll ever get good at it, but it's been fun to do it, so let's keep going. Tell me, goddess, of that moment when the great runner Achilles had spoken to his mother Thetis upon the shores of the Trojan Sea. Achilles, Peleus' son, had come crying and wailing to the shores and to the edge of the sea, wine dark in its splendor. His cries had rung throughout the camp, throughout the sea, and under the waves. They reached all the way to the halls of the great old man of the sea and his nereids, who were feasting and reveling at his board. Thetis, mother of Achilles, quickly went up above the waves, and like a mist appeared before him. She spake unto him, "O my child, what causes you such grief? What causes you to cry so? You are the greatest of the Achaeans, the strongest of any of them. Why, what would be able to do such a thing? Is it one of your friends in the Achaean army who has been slain? Is it some other slight upon your character?" Achilles, in no mood for such conversation, spoke. "O mother, you, a goddess who knows all things, why must I tell you what happened? Agamemnon has taken my prize. The seer Chryses came to the camp asking for his daughter back, but the pig-hearted king would not return her. Instead, he sent the man away, causing Apollo to shoot his plague arrows upon the camp for 9 days. When I attempted to take matters into my own hands, to actually attempt to find a solution, Agamemnon, who had to return Chryseis, the one who he had taken in the first place, then chose to take my prize, to remove the thing that brought me honor from all of these battles and all of these raids that I have been doing upon land and sea. Now he has taken her, and I hope that he chokes upon the feast that he eats in her honor. I will not fight for the Achaeans. I will not be showing my strong right arm in the battle to come or any of the future battles. No, what I want, dear mother, what I beg of you is to ask Zeus. You've told me that Zeus honors you over many, that you had saved him once. I ask that you beg of Zeus, use all of your wiles to get him to cause grief among the Achaeans. These Argives who have slighted me, who have stood by and allowed this pig, this cannibal king, to do as he will upon me. Yea, what I want is for the Trojans to push all the way through to the Achaean lines, to slaughter wantonly, to take the lives of many a Danaan, and to slice through the host like butter with a hot blade. Thetis could not speak for a second. She did not know what to think. But soon she collected herself. My child, I cannot say whether I think this the right move, but I will support you in whatever you choose. And if this truly be what you hope for, then I will speak to Zeus. The Olympians are among the Ethiopians, the blameless, the godlike, with feast and revelry for 12 days. But if you can wait that amount of time, stay in your tent. Do not go out to fight among the Achaeans or see any of the heroes among assembly. Stay where you are, and I will speak to Zeus. And if he still honors me as he once did, then he will do as you request. In a flash, the great goddess had dissolved into mist and was gone. Achilles back to his tent. And so for 12 days he waited, and he raged, and there was nothing, not Patroclus, not any of his myrmidons, no one and no thing could sate his anger. He was brimming over with the rage that was soon to consume the entirety of the Achaean camp. All right, a little bit on the nose, not too many deviations from the story, mostly just instances where I couldn't think of a good enough word to use, so I used stuff that felt a little too modern. But you know, could be worse. Again, I mostly just want to get to a point where I can rattle off stuff a little bit more naturally, and I think, you know, since day one, it is definitely getting better, so that's good. And again, it is not where I want it to be yet, but no one can expect such a thing to happen overnight or happen over 8 or 9 nights, which is how long it's been so far. So yeah, glad to be doing it again. The game that I'm working on, you can find it on my YouTube channel. I've been working on it for a really long time, and it's really important to me, which is why I'm going the extra mile with so many of the different aspects of its production. It's an interesting thing because the scope has been creeping on it, and I've been working on it way long. You know, I did my other one, the Homeric game, in 10 days, and this one's been, you know, 1.5 years or 2 years. But I'm really putting everything into it, and I feel that it, you know, it's not just a project, like it's an interesting learning experience as well, because I'm learning a lot of stuff about how Game Maker works and how to develop a game and stuff. So I'm happy to be doing it, and it's also just a good excuse artistically to be able to work on all these different pieces of art, and the you know, researching different types of Greek artwork and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've gone to all different kinds of museums and read reference books, a lot of different types of books, and you know, I've taken hundreds and probably thousands of notes, and that's not a joke, over these or that's not an exaggeration, I don't think, over these couple of years, from various, you know, at least a dozen, probably 24 translations of the Iliad, and also other adjacent stories like Post-Homerica and the Dionysiaca and all these different Greek stories and things. And so, I don't know, you know, Homer didn't come up with the story of the Trojan War off the top of his head, and neither am I. You know, he had a whole, you know, societal wisdom behind him of stories that were told to him about how the Trojan War works, and the stories that are told to me are the ones that I've read in books and stuff. So sort of interesting how what I'm trying to do parallels to some extent what Homer would have been doing, except he just did it way better than I could. But it's cool to be trying to uphold this tradition that's been lost in most parts of the world. They still do it in some places, but you know, most places where literacy exists, this disappears, because once you have the ability to write things down, the human capacity for memory and things like that kind of goes away. So I don't know that I would ever be able to achieve what, you know, level of fluency that they had at that time, but I think at least just forcing myself to do it gives it some kind of a it's unlocking a different, you know, creative mode that I don't think I had access to before, so that's cool. All right, so glad I did it again today. Looking forward to doing it the next time.